You're watching a show.
How did you start on stage? Because I met a guy from Australia last night who said I got to go to Australia and do some festivals over there. But he said just now it's starting where there's like a little scene, local scenes now.
Yeah, there was one comedy club in Sydney, and I used to, which is 4.5 million people in the city. It should have more, But I used to go down there and try to do the open mic night, and I started in Perth actually, and they had an open mic night on a Wednesday. Well, they didn't even have it. They did a comedy night on a Wednesday where they put one guy in the middle who was his first time,
Yeah.
And so I used to go down, and I the waiting list was like 3 months. There was more people wanting to do comedy than actually wanting to watch it. And so I lied. I just fucking lied to my teeth. I said I've been doing it for years. I just moved over from Sydney, and I was a professional. It was before the internet. No one checked anything. Like this is like just lying to get
his
a job.
third HBO special, and tonight he's going to be running some new material.
And so I had all this set ready, and I got up and I did all right.
You remember your first joke you ever wrote?
First big sort of set piece I wrote was a religious joke about. It's still not a bad joke if you put it if you bookend it with better jokes.
It sounds like my whole career.
It was a joke about how I was on. This is how the joke came about. I was on ecstasy in college. And I was sitting, and I burnt through the night, and my friends had all left, and I was sitting in my house, my apartment, and on the TV, I started watching. There was only 4 channels in Australia still, and I'm watching fucking religious television. So I'm watching like like Sunday prayers and all that type of bullshit. And then I never realized until then that Jesus didn't do any God activities until he was 30, and he died at 33.
Yeah.
And I said, what the fuck? Like, his mum was artificially inseminated by an angel. He obviously knew, like, someone must have whispered in his ear that he was God along the way. And why did he work as a carpenter until he was 30? And I said, oh, maybe it's not his fault. Maybe his dad sat him down when he was young and said, look, Jesus, I know being God's awesome and all that, but maybe you should get yourself a career first. Get yourself a trade. You'll always have that to fall back onto. And if there's, it's all right. It was just a little shitty religious joke.
Yeah.
And I think at that stage I'd probably been watching a lot of, what did I watch? There's a guy called Anthony Morgan I used to watch a lot in Australia. And then I think I started watching Richard Pryor in concert at that stage. And, I didn't get good at comedy, I reckon, for 4 years. I was making a living after a year, but I didn't get good at it for at least 4 years. And then I think every year I think I've gotten worse at it. And then I bring out a special and I go, oh, it's all right.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing to me how. I mean, like I know you went from Australia. You went to England for a while.
As soon as I finished university, I went straight to England for 10 years because I was in England from 23 till about 33, and I did comedy in Australia for a year before that. And the cool thing is, England's the opposite of Australia. There's more people wanting to watch comedy than who can perform it, at least at that stage.
Did you do any of those? Like the pubs and the stuff, like the Mirth tour? So I got to do that last year.
Oh,
I did like Maidstone. I did the Maidstone pub.
Who did you do that with?
I did that with Camilla Cleese.
No, I know Camilla Cleese, but who did you book that through?
Some guy.
Mirth Control.
Yeah, Mirth.
Jeff Whiting.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a gig for you.
Yeah,
more money to come.
Yeah, but I remember
telling you that the big one around the corner, Jeff. This one's a good one.
Yeah, I remember we took this train out to this town called Maidstone, where there's a big prison.
Yeah, Maidstone's a nice place.
Yeah, and you go in this pub. They've been doing comedy there for like 30 years.
Yeah.
And you go in, and it's this little bitty pub. There's dogs and cats and shit in the pub, and then all of a sudden they go 8 o'clock. Everyone sits down, grabs a beer, hangs out, and fucking watches comedy. It's like it was a great gig.
The whole country is built for comedy. It's raining. It's lightly raining outside.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Everyone's house is too small to live in, so they go down to the park. Like the real thing in England is the whole idea behind the corner pub, like every end of each street has a pub, is because they're all living in these shitty apartments, and they use the pub like their living room.
Oh, wow.
That's like there's sort of a mentality where you go down there, even if you're just having one drink, and then it's that whole that Billy Joel lyric. They're sharing a drink they call loneliness, but it's better than drinking alone. It's like these people are all alone together. And they all know each other, but they're not friends, and it's
right. Kind of like New York.
Yeah, and so it does lend itself to having a comedy gig in every pub on some night, and there's always a quiz night on a Monday, and comedy on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And
but it's fun. You go around to these little different pubs where you wouldn't normally, like in America, it's like there's comedy club. There's a set up kind of comedy club in every city. And now, I mean,
and Irish bars. Irish bars always have comedy shows.
Yeah, but the cool thing about there is you go to this place that's like 300 years old or 400 years old, and it's this little bitty pub.
And you'll have some places where it's a pub that you're doing a comedy show, and 250 people will show up.
Yeah.
Like, they're not little gigs.
No.
And they're paying you £200. And so you're like,
and you only have to do like 20 minutes.
20 minutes. And there's an interval in between.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, this is the weird thing. If you want to get pussy out of comedy, do England, Britain. Is the only way to do it. Because after the gig finishes, everyone hangs around and still drinks till 2 a.m. in the same room that you just performed in.
Perfect.
And
Fantastic.
so even the comedy clubs in Britain, they go, and after the show, we'll be moving all the tables and seats away, and this will become a nightclub. And so you're in a nightclub where you're the most famous person, even though you're broke as fuck and you earn $100 a night, and you have a dressing room for blowjobs just off to the side.
But now you probably came over here in a better position.
Oh,
when I came up here, when my comedy career, those were like the worst gigs. The ones were like, okay, comedy from 8 to 9:30, and then there's going to be disco. Yeah. So that means all the local assholes come at 9 o'clock.
Oh no!
And ruin your show by 9:30.
This would be them just trying to keep the people.
Oh yeah, no, you know what I'm saying though. I did all of those gigs.
I don't envy anybody having to start comedy in America. It sounds shit. I just watch. It's just the fucking no one getting paid, and also I believe that this industry's cattier over here than it is in Britain. Because of it's the us and them thing. See, in Britain, you go into a gig. Let's say everyone's getting £150. You get £150. I get £150. We all get £150, and then we all go drinking and we all buy rounds because we all earn the same money, and it's a sort of comrade type of stuff. Where comedy clubs over here, it's like, that guy's getting $25,000 and you're getting $20.
Yeah.
And so there's got to be bitterness. See, in Britain, if you get out of that, if you get above the comedy clubs don't advertise who's on. They might say, oh, tonight we got these 3 names. But it isn't like you have to do radio for that club. People just show up to the club regardless of who's on. So if you get so popular that you believe people are coming to see you and not the club, then you book yourself a theatre. Or you book yourself, like, there's a lot of community centres with like little 300, 200 seat theatres. Mm-hmm. You know, book yourself one of those shitty little artsy theatres and see if people show up just to watch you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're getting $170 like the other guy's fucking getting.
And the cool thing too there is what I noticed is they call the MC. What do they call the MC?
Compere.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy is usually the most experienced guy. Yeah. That's the guy that's actually been doing it longer. Whereas in America, the MC is a guy who's usually been doing it, maybe a year or two, and and he goes up and does 5 minutes and kind of eats a little bit of shit, and then
I tell you what, like, there's little phrasing things that are different. So, opening act, I call opening act support acts, right?
Yeah.
Now you never call them support acts over here, right?
They do on theater tours.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Forrest is your support.
Yeah, support. But I rang up Sam Morrell, and I was doing a gig in New York. I was doing like the Best Buy, and I said, "Hey, I'd like you to come down and support me." Like, and he's like, "All right, Jim, is everything going all right?" I'm offering him a gig.
Are you okay? Are you okay, mate?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I need a support for that night. Okay.
Yeah, I need a hug before you go in.
Are you gonna put my name on the guest list, or do I need to buy a ticket?
Yeah. Like, I'd love to see you, Jim, but can you put me on the list?
Sounds like Jim's hit hard time. He needs support. It's funny. Like, I use Forrest as my support act on the road, and for a couple of reasons. So I keep my nose clean because I got a kid now, so I don't want to cheat or anything like that. So